As you guys can see right behind me, I have the hood open for the all-new 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE. But let's talk about the powertrain for the XSE here. This has Toyota's 3.5 liter V6. It makes 295 horses and 263 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic, and this can tow 5,000 pounds. Fuel economy really quick for the XSE is rated at 21 in the city, 29 on the highway, and 24 combined. I was averaging around 32 miles to the gallon, so it does get really good fuel economy, even though this is not the actual hybrid version. I showed you guys the hybrid version a while back, and you can still tow a decent amount with the Highlander here. But shedding the hood here of the Highlander, my tester is painted in this midnight black exterior color. Looking at these headlights here, this is going to be a full LED with an LED daytime running light with an automatic high and low beam with an incandescent turn signal. Surprise Toyota didn't go with a full LED design. Looking at this grille, this is a mesh grille. The radar controls are going to live behind the Toyota emblem here. I like the mesh grille. Down here, just like on the actual Camry, you're going to have this big massive grille here with these LED fog lights, some silver painted trim. Honestly, I want you guys to comment down below in the comment section, what do you think about the front styling of the XSE trim? It looks, Toyota says this is the most aggressive looking Highlander that you can buy on the market, and honestly I could agree with that because this thing looks freaking phenomenal. But making our way on the side profile, I like these tires here. These are a Goodyear tire. These are wrapped in a 235 55 with tire. This is a 20-inch rim design. I like these silver and black finish here. 4 disc brakes for all 4 wheels. You even get these side steps here on this particular trim, on the XSE trim. The wheelbase for the Highlander is 112.2 inches with an overall length of 194.4. This is LED sight marker here on the mirror cap. I like this I like my tester in this midnight black color here because it does really good with the, it looks really nice with the silver accents. You have these roof rails up here on top, and there is a standard sunroof. You have to go for the platinum trim in order to get the actual panoramic sunroof. But making our way to the rear of the Highlander here, there's these darked out taillights here with an incandescent reverse light with an incandescent turn signal. I like the black finish here. There's this rear wiper to keep the rear glass clean. Your Toyota emblem, a stand-up backup camera there, incandescent lighting for the tag, your XSE badge there, and there's your Highlander badge there. Down here, there's this black painted bumper here with some silver painted trim. And only on the Highlander you would get dual tip exhaust when you go for the XSE trim. So if you guys want to see your exhaust tip down there, you have to go for the actual XSE trim. When you open up the cargo back here, Toyota does give you a power lift gate. With all seats folded up, Toyota says you get around 16 cubic feet of space. So once you fold everything down, you get 84.9 cubic feet of space. Just in case you want a little bit more cubic feet of space, you have to go for a Chevy Traverse. But let's hop into the interior of the Toyota Highlander XSE. Sit inside the interior of the 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE. Looking at this interior, I showed you guys this interior before, so I'm going to be a little brief on this interior. But shutting the door here, the door sounds nice and solid. So to start up the Highlander, just put your foot on the brake and press the power button here. You will hear that 3.5 liter V6 roar to life. The gauges will do a nice sweep. Looking at the material, is going to be a soft touch material. There's an aluminum door handle here. It is 1 touch up, 1 touch down for all 4 windows. Automatic high beam switch here. Your trunk release. There's a storage compartment here. You probably put some change and whatnot. The steering wheel here is going to be a manual tilt telescoping, but it does have a good adjustability and range. Your headlight control and turn signal will be integrated here with the fog light controls as well. Your wind wiper socket is going to be here. The upper part of your dashboard on top of the instrument panel is going to be hard touch plastic, but it is soft touch around the vents here. That's this carbon fiber like trim here, which looks really nice. Toyota says you can get a red leather interior with the XSE. Over here is more of that soft touch materials, more of that carbon fiber trim here. My Tesla has an 8-inch display here, 3-level heated. There's no cool seats on the actual XSE trim here. You have to go for a higher trim in order to get the cool seat. Your fan speed, nice tactile feel, buttons here, big knobs for the climate control and whatnot. Air vents here. Your hazard switch is here. My iPhone 11 fits in here just fine. You can run the cable through here from this little pads area. There is even soft padded here with some stitching. Push button start, of course. Looking at the controls here on the steering wheel, forward collision warning, lane keep assist. You have a radio presets here, adaptive cruise control. There does have Toyota Safety Sense 2.5. They upgraded the driver's assistance tech. Nice leather wrap steering wheel here. Putting the Highlander into reverse, as you can see, it's just a backup camera here with no trajectory, but there is distance markers and no parking sensors. Kicking it down here to manual mode, you have 8 different gears to go through. Putting it back into park, there's different drive modes here, which is Sport, Normal, and Eco. Electronic parking brake, auto hold, your automatic start stop, snow mode, and your traction control. This is front wheel drive. Honestly, I'll just leave the traction control on. Looking at down here, or over here, there's 2 quick charging USB port with the USB to connect for the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It does come standard for 2021. There's a 12 volt here, nice cup holders too, of course. The center console here is nice and padded. Open up this, a wireless charging pad. You still get those kind of features in here with a 12 volt. You have the straight to slide back and forth. So is a decent amount of storage space in the center armrest here. We're shedding this bag. I like the way that slides back into place. Above me, there's just this standard sunroof here, sunglass holder. You have this little mirror to look at the second and third row passengers there. The lighting in here is going to be an incandescent lighting. There's an SOS button there, your dome lights and whatnot. There's more of that carbon fiber trim. It has a funny sound to it once you rub your finger across it really quick. There's some storage compartments here, just like previous generation. Open up the glove box here, is damped, but it's not lined with felt. The seats in here are comfortable. These are the same seats off the Camry. I like the black and silver trim here and the actual insert of the seat. Surprisingly, there's no frameless mirror or rear view camera mirror on the XSE trim, but Toyota says this is the most sportiest trim. But Toyota did a really good job with the exterior styling. The interior still stays the same, so I was trying to be a little brief with this interior. But let's hop into the second and third row of the Toyota Highlander. So I'm gonna hop into the second and third row here of the Toyota Highlander, but let's sit in the second row here really quick. Like I mentioned, my tester does have these running boards here. They're fixed, so you have to worry about them going underneath the vehicle and whatnot. But I kind of find myself every so often forgetting that they're actually there, so you guys have to keep that in mind, that they're actually on this particular trim. But getting back here really quick, as you can see, I have plenty of foot room. I'm only 5'8", and this is where I have the driver's seat to drive. Toyota says you get around 41 inches of legroom back here. There's tri-zone climate control. There's 2 quick charging USB ports. The floor back here is nice and flat. There's even 2 cup holders here, 2 mat pockets here. And above me, I do not have the panoramic sunroof, but I do have the standard sunroof for the driver and passenger. But it does let some light, into this cabin. But shutting the door here, the door sounds nice and solid. There's this manual sunshade, of course. The materials do continue to the back. Nice padded area here, your window switch, and down here there's a little bit of storage and whatnot. So Toyota didn't kind of skip out back here. But let's hop into the second row here really quick. But I'm gonna fold this down and slide the seat forward. As you guys can see, I showed you guys this before. I'm gonna sit behind myself with the seat here, and honestly, it's pretty tight back here, but I have plenty of headroom. Only 5'8", like I mentioned. There's some cup holders back here. There's hard touch plastic materials, but the floor does sit flat to the floor. But this will be honestly reserved for little kids and whatnot. But as you guys can see, I barely have any foot room back here, so yeah, this will just be reserved for kids. But let's take the Highlander out and see how it performs, since Toyota said this is the most sportiest trim that you could get. So kicking off the driving scene here in the 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE. This has Toyota's 3.5 liter V6. It makes 295 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired with an 8-speed automatic. Honestly, Toyota says this is the most sportiest Highlander that you could buy on today's market. Honestly, it's the same 3.5 liter V6 that you get in the gas-powered Highlander. Toyota does offer this in a hybrid trim. So, and I tested that vehicle once before. It has phenomenal fuel economy. This thing goes over the bumps just fine. It soaks up the bumps. They tuned the suspension to be a little sportier, and honestly, I could agree that this car is way sportier compared to the normal version of this. Normal version of the Highlander. Put my foot down here. The V6 sounds really good. It has a nice deep growl to it. It goes over the bumps just fine. Visibility out of here is really good. Of course, I talked about the driving impressions well for the hybrid version of this plenty of times before. You have this A-pillar here you can see around it. These big side mirrors are blind spot monitoring. This does have Toyota Safety Sense 2.5, so they kind of upgraded their driver's assistance, especially with the lane trace assist. It works a little bit better compared to the other Highlander that I reviewed. I like the 3-spoke wheel design here. I just don't like that my Tesla has this small 8.5-inch screen. Maybe on the XSE trim they should have offered a 12-inch display like we have on the Platinum. If you want to get that, you have to go for the Platinum trim. And above me, I just have a standard sunroof here. but that V6 has a nice deep growl to it. And just driving this thing, not really putting my foot to the floor or anything, just driving it normally on these roads here, it sounds really quiet in here. I don't hear a lot of wind noise coming from the outside into the inside the cabin here. But once you get this thing up to like highway speed, 60, 65 miles an hour, it still cruises along just fine. So Toyota did a really good thing with the sound deadening materials inside the Highlander here. Really good suspension. It soaks up the bumps just fine. But they said they tuned the suspension because it's the XSE, so it's one of the most sportier versions. I wish that Toyota would have offered a little bit more horsepower, because this has the same outgoing horsepower number as the other version of this car. Besides the hybrid, that makes a little less horsepower compared to the 3.5 liter V6, and you can tow 5,000 pounds with this model. But this does have a unique styling compared to the other trim levels that you can get with the Highlander. It has that big grille, adaptive headlights, and unfortunately Toyota didn't go with that full LED design. I wish they would have went with that full LED. You still have the incandescent bulb. The seats in here are comfortable. These are the same seats off the Camry. You can also get a red leather interior that Toyota offers. So it's real leather. It's all on the door panels. It's on the seat, of course. So a nice red trim that you can get inside the Highlander. And above me, like I mentioned, my Tesla does not have the actual panoramic sunroof. You just get this standard sunroof, which you can open and close the shade here. So I wish Toyota would have gave you the actual panoramic sunroof instead of this standard size sunroof. But that V6 has a really nice growl to it. Coming here to this red light here, my Tesla does have the automatic start-stop, so it will shut off the engine, but it will keep the electronics on, like the infotainment system here, the climate control. Toyota says you get around 21 miles to the gallon in city driving and 29 on the highway. I've been averaging around 32 miles to the gallon, so this does get better numbers than the EPA suggests. If you go for the hybrid trim, you're going to be around the 40 gallon mark. If you go for the hybrid trim, which I would recommend if you're trying to save a load of gas at the pump. But this 3.5 liter V6 is a really good powertrain. It's hooked up to the 8-speed automatic. Great visibility out of here. Great driving dynamics. But putting this thing into a sport mode here, I'm really impressed with the driving dynamics of the XSE trim. I wish Toyota would have did a little bit more with the horsepower and the torque figures, but it still makes a good amount of horsepower for most people in this actual segment. Going over the bumps here, the chassis holds up just fine, even in sport mode. This thing still drives phenomenal, even if you put it into an actual normal most people, I feel like most people would just drive this thing in normal, because the sport mode is just going to just tighten up the steering a little bit, make the throttle a little bit more sensitive. So honestly, just driving this thing in the normal would probably be the best solution. But if you want to just hear how deeper growl that 3.5 liter V6 makes, then I would just say just leave this thing in sport mode. You're still going to probably get the best. You're still probably going to get the best fuel economy. I was averaging around 32 miles to the gallon with mixed driving, or just switching to the different drive modes here. But overall, the cabin here is really quiet, nice materials. Of course, it's the XSE trim, so you're not gonna have a heads-up display. You're not gonna have the panoramic sunroof. You have to just step up to a higher trim, and you're not gonna have cool seats. You have to go for another trim level in the Highlander family. So to spend time with the Highlander XSE, as you guys can see, this is the appearance package. This vehicle starts off at $41,405. My Tesla stickers for a grand total of $49,749. I'd like to give a special thanks to South Dade Toyota for providing with the 2021 Toyota Highlander XSE. If you guys are on the market for a Highlander XSE, you can come to South Dade Toyota and ask for Wilford.